viewers, my name is Mrs. Regina Ujo Wizzy-Beke, marriage instructor, counselor, and author of 4 very inspiring books. Today we'll be looking at the explosive power of forgiveness in marriage. Of course, it's a continuation of the requirements for a blissful marriage. Previously, we had looked at the first requirement for a blissful marriage as the husbandman mandatorily living the operational state of love by laying down his life or stooping or sacrificing to the level of the weaker vessel, his wife, where he will communicate in a language she can understand, so she will be a suitable helpmate for him. Now, the second requirement we had talked about for a blissful marriage, we mentioned emotional unity, which is very, very important. It is like the central nervous system of marriage. We talked about the third requirement, which I mentioned that it was avoiding familiarity breeds contempt syndrome. Today I want to look at the fourth requirement, which I tag the explosive power of forgiveness in marriage. Before we look at the explosive power of forgiveness in marriage, I want to tell us that for forgiveness to be realistic and achievable, we must first look at the make of man. We must first look at the make of man, so we will understand why we should forgive and what we gain when we forgive. So, Psalm 103 verse 14 explains it. We'll start from there. In Psalm 103 verse 14, God said that he will not continue to be angry with man because he knows our make. Because he knows our make. God knows that we are dust, mere dust. He didn't create us from light. He didn't create us from air. He didn't create us from sound. He created us from dust, mere dust. You see that? God knows that. That is why God understands the nature of that material, that man being created from dust is vulnerable. Man is not only vulnerable, man is surrounded by lots and lots of enemies. And this worsens it. This worsens the situation. And that is why when God looks at man, God holds back his anger against man. Now, Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 5 says, woe is he who puts his trust in man. You see that? Woe is he who puts his trust in man. Now, in marriage, we are taught trust your partner. That's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm trying to talk about is because we have built a lot of expectations in our hearts for our partners. Most times when they make mistakes, we tend to hold these mistakes against our partners. We will not let go. We will not forgive. We will say, he's supposed to. By the way, why will he make this kind of mistake? That's why Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 5 says, who is he that puts his trust in man? Don't forget, Jesus Christ said something. He said the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. It boils down to the same thing. You can see that the flesh of man is weak. And because the flesh of man is weak, man is very vulnerable to making mistakes. Man is very vulnerable to doing things that are wrong, negative. You see that? Now, the most interesting part is that God said in the book of Matthew chapter 6, verse 14 to 15, he said, unless we forgive others, our sins can never be forgiven. Wow, that's a big one. Unless we forgive others, our sins cannot be forgiven. Why would God say that? God said that because he knows our make. And he knows that human beings most times are unteachable. They find it too difficult to accept the knowledge that comes from him, the wisdom that comes from above. And that is why God drew this criteria. God said, oh, you are saying that he did this, he did that. Don't forget, if you don't forgive this person, I, God, will not forgive you. You see that? Very important. I want us to catch this rhema. I want us to understand that when we understand the make of man, we understand the things that surround forgiveness and the make of man, we will be able to forgive our partners. We'll be able to forgive the weaknesses of our partners, knowing that we ourselves are not perfect beings. Now, see what Jesus did on the cross when he was being nailed, when he was pierced, when he was dying on the cross. Jesus, he looked at his executioners and he looked up and said to God, he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they are doing. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they are doing. And Jesus is our master. Jesus is our mentor. If Jesus is the one we look up to, we have something to learn from there. That even when they were crucifying him, even when they were killing him, executing him, all that Jesus could cry for, all that Jesus could say was, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they are doing. Let me tell you, just like I have been saying, Jesus had understanding of the make of man. Jesus knew that these people were under the control of forces beyond them. No one will see the Messiah. No one will see the Son of God and lay a finger on him. It's not possible. That will take me to explaining to you that in the realm of the spirit, human beings are controlled by two forces. It's either human beings are controlled by the forces of light or they are controlled by the forces of darkness. Now, in the physical, when you see someone that is controlled by the forces of light, you can easily point and say, this one is a Christian. Oh, this one is a good person. When you see somebody that is controlled by the forces of darkness, you say, this one is a witch. This one is a bad person. Why is it so? That is because there are forces that are beyond man. There are forces that are beyond man on earth. For instance, a woman will prepare and get married. When you ask her, she's going to tell you how her marriage will look like. But watch her. 5-10 years into that marriage, she could be caught committing adultery. She never planned for it. Never. She never planned to commit adultery. What of a man? The man will look at his wife, love her with all his heart. He will swear everything that I will be there for you. Just give him a while. When the forces of this world, when the forces that are beyond men face that man, he will not remember any of those promises. You will see him committing adultery. Not because he wanted to commit adultery, but because there are forces beyond men on earth. When we have understanding that human beings are constantly manipulated, constantly controlled by forces beyond them, when you look at your partner is doing something that is wrong, you will forgive your partner so that God can also forgive you. Do not forget, our topic is the power, the explosive power of forgiveness in marriage. We have not started talking about the explosive power. I'm just trying to make you understand who the make of a man is. Let us look at David. David was a man after God's own heart. If anybody had told King David in the Bible that he was going to commit adultery, commit murder, David would have said never. That he loved God beyond that. But what happened to David? David fell. David fell. And God forgave him. God forgave him because he knows our make. That is not a yardstick for anybody to sin. No. But I am saying that when it has happened, when there is mistakes in marriage, when an error occurs, do not hold it against your partner. Instead, let go. Forgive your partner. Learn to forgive your partner. Learn to forgive your partner. For Bible says, even the most righteous man falls 7 times in a day. The most righteous man falls 7 times a day. You see that? So, human beings are vulnerable to mistakes. Human beings are weak people. They are imperfect beings. That is why we must be ready to forgive our partners at all times. We must at all times be ready to forgive our partners. Remember, Bible says, if you think you are standing, take heed lest you fall. You are saying you can't forgive, you cannot forgive because you are the perfect one. Take heed lest very soon you will fall. Be careful lest you fall. No one is above mistakes. No one person is above mistake. We are all weak human beings. So we must learn to forgive our partners. Woe is he that puts his trust in man. Oh, my husband cannot cheat on me. My husband cannot cheat on me. Who told you that? Don't say that. What you should rather say is, God help my husband to stay faithful. God help my husband not to fall into temptation. My wife cannot do this. My wife cannot cheat on me. No way. God help my wife to stay faithful. We should be praying for our partners, not saying they cannot. So that at the end of the day, when the devil now hears that and sets a trap, and your partner falls, you say you will never forgive. No. No. Bible says that God will not hold our sins against us because he knows our make. He will not continue to be angry with man because he knows our make. Please, our topic today is the explosive power of forgiveness. I decided to take us through this so we can understand why it is necessary to forgive man. I'm going to take a short break, then I will come back. When I come back, we are going to be discussing the explosive power of forgiveness. At this point, I believe that you have understood the make of man, why you should forgive your partner. I believe you have understood, and your heart, that anger in your heart will begin to melt, and you will prepare yourself, open up yourself to experience the explosive power of God whenever we forgive. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for your time and attention. If you have not subscribed to this channel, don't forget, remember to subscribe, and also like, drop a comment in the comment section and share our video so that many others out there will be able to benefit. Thank you very much.